Hey y'all, welcome to the Now We're Cooking Olive Oil Show. I'm Jennifer from Squizito Tasting Room, and today I'm going to be cooking homemade gnocchi and a white wine sauce with capers. It's really good. This is what you're gonna need. 2 medium potatoes, and I already baked these in the microwave so they're soft. You're gonna need an egg. We use the Seasonello Herbal Salt, the leek olive oil. You'll need a dry white wine and some 00 flour. You'll also need some capers and some salt for the water to season to boil your gnocchi. Okay, if you've never made homemade gnocchi, it's super easy and it's made with potatoes and flour. So you microwave your potatoes just long enough until they're soft, and then you just rice it out or you just scrape it out. We'll just get all that out of there as best you can into the bowl. I like skins, but for this recipe, I'm gonna leave the skins out. Just cut it in half and then scrape it out. So I usually don't do this because this is what I did a while ago. I wrap my potatoes in a towel and put them in the microwave. I have one of those potato bakers. It's like a little mitt that you put in the microwave, but a while ago I put a new towel in the microwave and it almost caught it on fire. So don't do that. Okay, so now you have your potato mash. You're gonna add a cup of flour, but these were 2 small potatoes, so I think I'm just gonna do like 3/4 cup of flour. So the recipe is 2 medium to large potatoes and a cup of flour, but those were pretty small potatoes, so I'm gonna just do 3/4 cup of flour. And then I'm gonna make a well in the middle, and I'm gonna take my ring off because I don't wanna get flour and stuff all in it. And it's kinda like making pasta. So I'm just gonna whisk the egg really quickly and then pour it in the middle. And then I'm gonna take my Seasonello sea salt, and I like to season it like if I was looking at my food and it didn't have any salt on it, and then I was going to put salt on it. And then I just kind of salt across it like that, but I'm gonna do it twice because it's a pretty thick layer. Okay, so that should be, and this is really salty, so that should be enough salt. Okay, so then you get your hands dirty, and this is how you do it. Okay. It's like making pasta, and so you kind of just have to adjust for the dryness, or if it's not too dry and you need more flour, you'll have to add more flour, but you just mash it up. If you've watched our pasta making video where we made homemade pasta with Kristen, the only difference is that you have potatoes in this, and it's about the same, and you're gonna roll it out differently too and cut it differently. So once it gets to this consistency, you can just kind of roll your hands back and forth, and most of it will fall off, and then you're gonna just make it all in a ball, and you're kind of gotta make it long because in a minute we're gonna roll it out like if you've ever made a worm with Play-Doh, and I think everybody in this world has made a snake or a worm with Play-Doh. That's kind of what we're gonna do. So it's kind of mixed up good. Make sure it's all in there good. Then you're just going to roll it out like you would if you were making a worm with Play-Doh. Simple. Now, depending on the size you want your gnocchi to be, that's how long, and you can cut this and start a new worm and make it as big or as little as you want. It just depends on how big you like your bites to be. I personally like it really small because when you make it really small, then you can just add it to the skillet with white wine. I'm all about one pot meals. Like anything that you can do in one skillet and save dishes, I love. So if I make it really small, then you don't even have to boil it first. You can just add it to the skillet with the white wine sauce. I'll show you that too in a minute. And it will cook with the juices in there. Okay, so I have one out, and it's about the size that I want it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some, I better go ahead and wash my hands real fast. Okay, so what you're gonna do after you have it rolled out is you are just going to take a knife and just make, I take the back side of the knife and just make little marks all the way down. And I do everything fast. And then flip it over and do the same side. Do the same thing on this side. And this will just help the sauce to absorb better if it has a little bit more surface area. And then I just bunch it back up. I take my fingers and I just squeeze it back into kind of a round shape. So you're gonna cut it into little pieces that you would want, however big you want your pieces to be. And for this, I'm gonna cut them pretty small. You know, a pizza roller will probably work really good for this. Let me try it. Oh, look at that. Perfect. You can also use this recipe to make potato dumplings for soups. And you can use this recipe for red sauce, really whatever you want. So I still have another one that I have to roll out and cut, but I'm gonna put this one back into my bowl full of flour just so they don't stick, and just dust them a little bit with flour. Okay, so the onions are cooking down. We're gonna wait till those get a little bit more translucent, and then we're gonna add the garlic and the seasoning. I really messed this video up at the beginning by not telling you what exactly we needed, because now I'm remembering that we need the Tuscany bread dipping seasoning too. This is how I cook though, on the fly. Like, I'm just like grabbing stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So this is the real me. I'm never organized. I usually just look in the fridge to see what I have and then add it. Okay, I'm gonna mince some garlic. So I cut it long ways first, and then little bitty pieces. And it's really just as much garlic as you like. So you're gonna wanna add your garlic and your spices at the same time, because they're gonna toast really rapidly. And then we're gonna add the white wine to deglaze the skillet, and our capers when we add our white wine. And sometimes I add asparagus to this dish. Most of the time I add asparagus, but I'm not going to today. And you can finish it with bacon bits, or you can not, that's up to you. It gives it a little bit of a smoky flavor, and if you want meat in your dish, you can add whatever meat you want. Really, you can make this your own. This is just a general white wine sauce. Okay, so I'm gonna do 2 garlic cloves, and they are gonna go in. Don't cut yourself. And then the Tuscany bread dipping seasoning. This is a good general seasoning for almost everything. I love this. I use it a lot. So I'm just gonna add about a half a tablespoon. Maybe it's a tablespoon. I'm just gonna kind of cover it like this because I like it a lot, and it has a little bit of heat though. Okay, so those are just gonna toast very quickly. I'm gonna turn my water up and boil some gnocchi, and then I'm gonna add some just to the pan, because I wanna show you both ways. Okay, then you're gonna add about a cup of white wine sauce. White wine sauce, this is not white wine sauce. Well, this is gonna make white wine sauce. We're gonna add a cup of dry white wine. This is Sauvignon Blanc. So I'm gonna turn your burner up just a little bit so it can cook that off. And then I'm gonna let that cook off for about a minute, and I'm gonna add a little bit more salt, but not too much, because capers are very salty. Now these capers that we got most recently are humongous. And they have the stems. Have you ever seen a caper with a stem? Look at that. That's cool, huh? So these can actually be cut into pieces because they're monstrous. Y'all try this recipe and it'll really impress your family. Look at those little caper. These are caper berries. caper berries. So I guess these are different than capers. I have capers too. Let me taste one. They were so good. Tastes just like, I mean, they're just pickled capers, so. But I really don't know the difference between caper berries and capers, but I think these are caper berries. I don't know. Somebody tell me. I'm sure somebody will tell me what's the difference. Okay, so now my wine is cooking down. I'm going to add the capers to the skillet, and that's going to give it a lot of saltiness, but I'm going to add a little bit more. I need to wipe my hand off. A little bit more of the herbal salt, and then let that cook for just a minute. And I'm going to go ahead and add a handful of the gnocchi. It's going to cook the gnocchi because I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. So this is kind of doing the same thing as if you were to boil the gnocchi first, because the gnocchi cooks so fast. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. This is the one pot. This is the way to do it, one pot. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit of water to it just till it gets up about halfway up the gnocchi, maybe 3/4 of the way. Some of them are even covered. And then I'm going to turn my burner up, and it's going to cook down, and that flour that's mixed in with the gnocchi is going to cause the sauce to thicken a lot. Otherwise, what I would do is I would cook the gnocchi and then add some of the gnocchi water to the white wine sauce to thicken it. So it's exactly the same. It's, 6 one way, a half a dozen the other, really. It really depends on if you want to use 2 skillets or use a pot and a skillet, or if you just want to do it in one. And I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to do it in just one skillet. So this is the way I like to do it, and I'm really happy that I figured out this new way because I like to save a pan. But I'm also going to cook some in a pot too, to show you the different way.